Hello and welcome. Once again, I apologize for the beginning. I know it's sloppy. It goes from right to music and the intro thing to me. I'm trying. I might end it then, but that's besides the point. I just want to make a quick video vlog or whatever you want to call these things, analysis of what is going on with Team Liquid. As you can tell from the title of the video, Team Liquid has benched Piglet. And before I continue, I apologize. I am eating dinner. I got home. Somebody linked me the article. I read through the article, and I read through some of the comments, and then I was just like, "Oh my God, really, really, this is happening right now. This is happening." Okay. Well, so Team Liquid has decided, if you have not known yet, to bench Piglet, which is their ADC for their team. Bench them for week 5. They will be using Keith. They use Keith for the first week, and I think this is essential that we talk about that first. First things first. The first week, Team Liquid went 2-0 with a sub. They went 2-0 with Keith, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing! Team Liquid looks like the strongest team." They're the only team in the NA LCS that went 2-0 that week. Holy cow, this is insane. They just look amazing. And then they're like, man, and then the hype even got even more hype when they're like, they don't even have their real roster. They're waiting for Piglet. Oh my goodness, Piglet is going to just make this team much more better. If Keith did well, then Piglet is going to do great. And then things started to go downhill a little bit. Team Liquid seemed to next week not do so hot. Piglet right off the bat seemed to be struggling against Cloud9, going on tilt, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. Didn't even have his masteries done or set for the tournament, and he just was ill prepared in my eyes, and it was just not good. And then things were going okay. I wouldn't say they're doing great, but things are working out and all that jazz. And Team Liquid is still struggling um, to get where they are in the LCS. So everybody's freaking out. Everybody's freaking out that Piglet is a problem. Isn't the problem? It's Phoenix, and we'll talk about Phoenix in a second. But I want to go back a little bit to the 2-1 Cloud9 was putting Piglet on tilt, is what we call it. Cloud9 mentioned in an interview, Sneaky said, if you can get Piglet on tilt and get him really bad, which he was doing really bad on Severe, he usually goes off and free farms by himself, and they knew that they couldn't capitalize on that and just kind of collapse on him. They were okay. They were kind of prepared for that, but that's just not how their team style goes. And that goes back to I think the Korean culture. I don't personally play on the Korean server, but multiple people have said multiple times that the Korean culture is very strict. They want things to go exactly right. If you're playing Korea, they give up very easily. Little mistakes, they give up. They want to finish a game in a certain time. If they don't finish the game in a certain time, they kind of lose interest and not care about the game as much anymore. And I feel like these tendencies are shown in Piglet. I think Piglet, even though he is a world champion, and I'm not saying he gives up easily, but he just showed that tendency in that game. He was up top on severe farming, and he was just kind of they tilted him, and he was just trying to do his free farm, ultimately ending up losing that game and Cloud9 taking I think their first win in the LCS split, if I'm correct. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But continuing on, so we get to week 5 now, and people are freaking out. People are blaming other obvious mistakes within Team Liquid. Now, as I mentioned before, each team has its flaws, its greatness, and its weaknesses. For TSM, they look like they're a solid pack. Nobody really can break their weaknesses right now. Overall, they outplay their opponents. They're just at a little bit higher skill than most people. But if you look at any other team, you can point out a weakness, and I mentioned this before. This is important for subs and whatnot. And Team Liquid is doing what they're supposed to be doing, using their sub, is what I mentioned. But before I get off on a tangent like that, for Team Liquid, yes, as a viewer and watcher, we can point out multiple things. We can point out people who aren't doing good or well, and they are not contributing as much as you want him to do as the team, and a lot of people are putting that heat on Phoenix. They're like, why is Piglet getting cut that instead of Phoenix? Why isn't Phoenix getting benched? Phoenix is really the problem. This is bad. I want to refund my icon. I'm done supporting the team. Phoenix is the problem. What the heck is going on? And from a general viewer, this is ridiculous. You guys do the same thing every time. Every time something goes wrong or something you don't like, you stop supporting your team. Is that the only reason you're supporting Team Liquid is because Piglet's on the team? That's not Then you're supporting that player. That may be your favorite player, but that's not ultimately your favorite team. And talking about refunding your icon because of the changes that they want to make, they want to ultimately do better and win games. And there's bigger issues at hand. What do I mean by that? Yes, Phoenix may be a weakness in Team Liquid's play right now, but that is not the overall problem. There's bigger problems that could be addressed that could fix some things. For example, let's back up a little bit. We'll take TSM again. I use TSM in a lot of my examples, but TSM is a good example when they had Glebe. Glebe was a major problem because he was not getting along with the team, and his communication with the team just wasn't there. Now Glebe is on a different team. He's doing well, and I'm happy for him. But ultimately, he didn't click with anybody on TSM. He just wasn't there connecting there. He wasn't there socially. He wasn't there connecting one-on-one with Turtle too well. It just was ultimately the biggest problem. Yes, there's other flaws in TSM, just like every other team, as I've mentioned before on TSM. But that was the biggest thing. They kicked off Glebe. They made an emergency switch. They kicked off Glebe and they brought in Lustboy and ultimately won NALCS first place, which I don't understand why people are getting so frustrated and angry when they're just benching Piglet. And now it's been speculated that Piglet has been very toxic and not doing well in scrims. He's not getting along. He doesn't like the calls. And this infects the whole team environment. If you're not getting along with your support and you're not getting along with your team, Crumbs said it best in his vlog. You're just not going to be successful. And you may be the one that's trying to be friends and it's just not working out, and it might be vice versa. You may be the one that's causing the problems and it's just ultimately not working out. And you have to, bench them or sit and ultimately maybe kick them off the team. But this, I think, is a great move. I think, this is what I've been talking about in my last videos, is the importance of sub. If things aren't working out with Piglet, then he needs to be benched. If he's causing problems, if he is being toxic, and he is not just doing well in scripts, and he's just not going with what the plan is supposed to be on TSM, or on Team Liquid, their ultimately, I don't know why I said TSM, I apologize. Their ultimate goal for Team Liquid, then he needs to be set. Yes, there's other problems and other weaknesses within the team that can be probably fixed or adjusted, and those will be fixed over time, hopefully, and maybe even get better. But you have to look at the biggest problem. It's a stepping stool of what is the biggest problem that we can focus on right now, and then other little things throughout the way. Everybody that's blaming Phoenix, saying he's the problem, he's not really doing well, he's been consistent, he's been positive, he wants to improve, he's gotten there. Yes, I'm sure he cannot hold his own against maybe Bjergsen and Shifter, or Ajay Waujet, or I think it's Wei Zhao Wei, sorry. But he's holding his own, he's being as even as he can go, and he's following the team plan, he's trying to synergize with the team plan, and it's hard. It's hard also, you have to keep in mind there's a communication barrier. His first language is not English, neither is Piglet's, but you have to keep in mind that he's trying, he's doing his best, and ultimately you have to figure out what's the biggest problem. And right now, Piglet, he's not synergizing with the team, according to sources. He's being toxic. He's just not willing to cooperate, and he has this cocky attitude. And, ultimately that will bring Team Liquid down. And it's bringing not only himself down as a player, but he's also bringing down everybody else on the team. and Team Liquid made the right call, right decision. And for people to really revolt and say they're not supporting Team Liquid anymore because Piglet is the one being benched right now, it doesn't mean Piglet's gone. Piglet's being sat right now, but that doesn't mean ultimately he's gone. People just they lose their mind. But you have subs. This is why you use subs, because something's not clicking. You either get to your shit together or you get sat. You're not doing well. Um, and yes, I understand. Piglet was one of the best ADCs in season 3. He won. He was on SKT. I get it. He's got a championship under his belt. He's got the cup. I mean, whatever. And yes, he's got that on his belt. But that does not mean ultimately he's the best end all be all person in NA. He's better than Double Lift. He's better than Sneaky. He's better than Turtle. It just it doesn't it blows my mind. You just can't ultimately be like, whoa, whoa, no, 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 this is not how this should be. And it just seems like people are all focused on replacing Phoenix and that problem because maybe that's what we see. But like I said, it's ultimately the bigger problem. And the bigger problem right now, from why they're not winning or why the management sees the biggest problem, is because of Piglet. And I think people need to focus on that and not have that hype on Piglet, you know? Yes, he's a good ADC. Yes, he has that notch under his belt of winning the Worlds. But you have to keep in mind, this is a new team, new players, and if he's not willing to cooperate and he's not willing to, tame down the salt, the PJ salt here, he needs to be sad. I think they did a wonderful job, and I think once again Team Liquid did a great job releasing their PR statement. They said, you know what, the players need to focus on their upcoming matches and do not comment on this. This is really good. This is how all team management should be. This should be a public statement. Then have questions if you have questions, and then other than that, let it be. And you know what? For all the people that are jumping board or jumping ship because Piglet is sad, then you weren't truly a Liquid fan in the first place. If you were following for just Piglet, then that was your favorite player, but not ultimately, like I said, your favorite team. And you have to relook like, is this a team you want to represent worlds, your world stage, your region in worlds, or is it a team you just like, oh, I don't really like Liquid, but I like Piglet, so I'll support them. I don't think that's how you should go about things. I mean, yes, you can like a certain player, but ultimately you shouldn't be like, I'm done. This is it. Can I refund my icon? Like I said, all this stuff that I'm reading right now. This is just ridiculous. But like I said, Piglet being toxic, Piglet bringing down not just him but his teammates, it's ultimately going to be a bigger effect than Phoenix right now. So one step at a time. Let's see how Keith did. I don't understand why everybody's jumping on Liquid's back also. Keith did amazing the first week, and everybody was hyped even to see Piglet do well, even better. And he's just not living up to the team expectations, and he's being really toxic, like I said. And ultimately, that is it. I think this is a good decision. I think they did a wonderful job of how they handled it, and I feel like people are just doing the same thing they always do, jumping on everybody's back, jumping on trying to place the blame elsewhere when you just don't, you want to be blind to what's really in front of you and blind from what you can't see in the first place. So I think people are just jumping to conclusions, and ultimately we'll see how Keith does. And I have faith for Keith. I think Keith was doing good in the first week, and I think he'll come back and be just as good, if not better, this week. They'll be scrimming, practicing, and I can't wait to see the matches. But that is it. I'm sorry for the quick video. That is all I had to say. I'm going to go finish my dinner now. Thank you all for watching. If you want more of this content, subscribe to my YouTube, or you can follow me on my Facebook and Twitter, which are off to the right there. And I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.